this is a special request, so we are giving this question to be find what or factorize completely. So we are going to factorize this question. That's the m squared minus 2mn plus n squared minus 9r squared. So first of all, the meaning of the factorization is that you should bring out the common people, right? So if you have, let's say, 2x squared and then plus, let's say 3x here, the meaning of the factorization is that whatever I can see here, I must see the same person here, right? So I can see that there's a x here, there's also x here, even though this is x squared. That is why factorization comes in. So when I put this thing in bracket, I can see that I can easily bring out the x out here, right? So once I brought this x here, we are going to left with the 2 here. Remember, this is 2 of the x, so we have the x here and then plus. So what is going to remain here? Only 3, right? Because I've already brought the x out. So this is just the simple meaning of a factorization. If there are 2 or more, you have to go with the same approach or method. So that is the idea that we are going to use in solving this problem. Even though we have 4 people, so this is what I'm calling the people 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Then let's see how best we can factorize this thing here. Now if I put these 2 people here in brackets, I can easily see that I can see the m here. But what happens if I put these 2 people in brackets? Well, there's an n here, there's no n here. Obviously these are the 2 different people here, right? So what we are going to do here is let's deal with these 3 people and see how best we can do the factorization here, right? So dealing with these 3 people, we have that is our m squared and then minus 2mn and then plus n squared, right? So let's deal with these people so that we know that this guy is not part of the journey for now, right? So the reason is that you can see the numbers are being manipulated here. So here's the trick. Now look at the guy here. You see these 3 people here, we cannot factor anything out. So if you choose to factor m out, there's an m here, there's an m here, but there's no m here, right? So what we are going to do here is that if you have something like, let's say, 2x, meaning that this can be written as x plus x, right? So this is the same thing. So that is the idea that we are going to use on the middle guy here. So this guy here can be written as the guy at the middle, right? So it can be written as, that's the m square already. So here you can have what m n, right, minus m n. We are just rewriting these 2 people here, so plus the n square. Is that okay? Remember this guy is also there, right? This should be n, right? So m n. So splitting this guy into 2 because of the negative, that's also why you split this guy with all the negatives. Okay, now perfect. From here we can easily proceed. So for that reason, I can put the first one into one bracket. That's the m square minus mn here, and then this guy also goes into one bracket, right? Now here you must pay a very close attention to a negative and a positive issue. But here there's a negative here. Can you see? So by the way, if you want to go with a negative, that should be negative. But remember, putting this guy in bracket, that should be m n here. Obviously this negative here will affect the bracket, so exactly what you have. But what about this one? If I write a positive here, meaning that here was a negative, so here must be what? A negative, right? So negative here, meaning that if you expand this one, this guy multiplied by the n squared, then I'm going to have my positive back, right? So the result of the factorization, whenever you bring the bracket, if you multiply, you must have the same thing here. So because this negative here will affect the bracket, so negative mn here will give me the negative mn. So negative multiplied by the negative n squared, that should be the positive n squared, right? So pay a very close attention with a negative. So here was a square, so here must be the r squared, right? Okay, now let's proceed. Now with this one, we can easily do the factorization from here, right? So here we are going to have what are we bringing here? We are bringing m out, so we have what m, one of the m left here, and then minus there is going to be the n, right? So exactly, so what are we bringing out? So negative n, right? So n out, we are left with m, and then minus n, right? So that is a very so the key to doing a factorization with 4 people, so 1 2 3 4 here, is at a point just like the way solving a quadratic equation, right? The point of solving a quadratic equation is that the two brackets here must be the same at the end. If they are not the same, then it means that there's something wrong with your factorization. So for sure, you can see that here we are having the two brackets. Anything that is inside these two brackets are the same, right? Okay, now what are we going to do? Way back in solving the quadratic equation, you can see that you put these two people into round brackets and then repeat just one of the brackets. So yeah, let's put this one into one bracket. So we have our m minus n in one bracket, and then we are going to repeat just one of the brackets here. So likely for us, they're having the same thing. That's the m minus n, right? So we have m and then minus n. Remember, there's one guy outside here. That is minus 9. This is just done step by step, right? So just make sure that you take your time and do everything step by step. Remember, we are factorizing. So factorizing means that you bring everything into the simple or the smallest form, right? So this is our problem here, right? So this guy is going to be our problem, right? Because that is the 9r squared. We don't want that. We are factorizing, so we are bringing everything to the simplest form. Now, so let's keep this bracket as it is. That's the m minus n, and then we have a m minus n. Don't expand this bracket. Once you expand it, then you are making it more complicated again, right? So now our focus is on this guy. So look at something. This guy here, that is the 9, right? So we can rewrite this guy to be 9 into bracket. We have what? That should be 3r everything squared. Do you agree? Right? So do you agree with this thing? There's a minus. So if I square the 3, I'm going to have the 9, and then when I square the r, I'm going to have the r squared. Right? Okay, so perfect. Now we can proceed and then write this guy to be n minus we have here, we can rewrite this guy here, right? So that is the square. So obviously, if you say something like, let's say x squared, that is just by saying the x multiplied by itself, right? So the x multiplied by itself, that is what we have. Is that okay? So if the x multiplied by itself, then what are we going to do here? So let's use this idea in solving this part here, right? So here we can write this guy as a minus, that should be, there's a bracket, right? So that should be 3r multiplied by what? 3r, right? So 3r. Is that okay? This is just the matter of rewriting whatever you are solving, right? Okay, remember there's a negative here, right? So negative guy is here. This negative is affecting the bracket. So expanding this thing to give you, that should be one of the brackets should be n minus 1 plus one of, so the minus first, minus 3r, and then here also tends to be n minus 1 and then plus 3r, right? So this should be our final simplification. If you have any question, don't hesitate to comment in the comment section below for help.